Hello, new setup. But first, hi, my name is Jasmine. I run the Crochettery here on YouTube, and I will address the new setup because I used to just sit on the edge of my bed and I would put my little thing that holds my phone up. It's called like a gooseneck, if you're aware of that means. If you don't, it's not important. Don't worry about it. But I would have that stuck to a table and then I would just film from the edge of my bed. But I did a complete room makeover for myself. So I am technically on my bed. I bought a couch bed and it's against the same little heart back there as you can see. You can't fully see it anymore, which I don't ideally love. So I'm probably going to be playing around with a couple different camera angles from the next few videos onward until I find one that I really like. Only because I have no idea what I'm doing with it right now. But with that out of the way, with me not knowing the impending little backgrounds, I don't think it matters anyways. We're going to get into this video. Now, let me explain this for any crocheter who is unaware of this yarn, or for anybody that does not crochet and wants to know what the hype is behind this yarn. This is the Bernat baby blanket in the color Confetti. Now, mine's a little jangled up because I bought mine on clearance when I finally found it in stores, which I didn't even know you could get it in stores until I saw them on clearance, and I was like, purchase, purchase. But this is what the yarn looks like. It's like a variegated funfetti type color with the white as the base, and then it's got specks of a coral or a pink, a yellow, and a blue throughout it, which makes it look like a funfetti cupcake. So this has been the staple yarn for birthday inspired plushies. So I'm going to be personally making birthday bees from a pattern that I love because I love making them. They're just cute, they're easy, they're quick, and they don't use up a lot of this yarn, so you can really get your bang for your buck, you feel me? But because this yarn is always sold out, I thought you could only buy it online, and even then buying it online is not easy. You gotta wait until it's in stock and then pray it works before you check out. Excuse me. But this was always the holy grail. I've only used it just a little bit. I've only made 2 bees and a tiny little frog out of it. So I do have the second ball that I purchased with this slightly used. But I'm not going to use my opinions from the bees and the frog that I made because I made them months to months back. So I don't really remember making them anyways. But I have 2, 1.5 of the Bernat and Confetti. And Sweet Snuggles Light, or Loops and Thread, has come out with their own version of this color. So I was like, grab, I want to compare them to each other. So this one's Sweet Snuggles Light in the color Carnival Multiply. So you can see it's the same white base with the variegated blue, yellow, and pink bits. So it is the same yarn color. The same yarn color. The same yarn color. This one has 300 grams. This one has 200 grams. This one retails, I don't know about this color specifically. I probably should have looked that up. But Bernat Blanket typically retails for $11.99 or $12.99 depending where you buy it. Because you'd have to buy this at either Michael's or Joann's online. And this is I got stuck to another collar. This is a Michael's brand, but this retails for $9.99, so you are getting it a couple dollars cheaper than this one, but you are getting 100 grams less than if you were to just buy this one. But if you need to buy this one in store, or if you like the feeling of this one better, maybe it's better, I don't know. But I did get 2 balls of this one as well. You can tell I bought this one months back before the whole label changed. Let me make sure they say it's the same color just to be sure. It doesn't say what the color is on this one. Oh, that's cute. We got rid of the color name on this one. Huh. So there's no color name on this one, but it is the exact same yarn, the exact same brand as this ball. They just did redesign of packaging, but it is the same yarn. It is still the Sweet Snuggles Light. This one's also 200 grams, so these 2 are the same, and these 2 are the same. And I want to test which one's better. Is this one just the overhyped original, or is this gonna be a pretty good new one. As soon as this video comes out and other people see it, maybe they'll want this one instead of this one. That's what I'm here to find out right now. If it's more worth the investment of spending a couple extra dollars to get a couple extra grams compared to this one. Now, I will say this one is Bernat Baby Blanket. Baby Blanket is usually softer than a Bernat ball of yarn, but this is not softer than a Bernat ball of yarn. I would not call this a baby blanket yarn. It feels like any typical blanket yarn that you feel if you are a crocheter. If you're not a crocheter, it basically resembles the feeling of like a thick blanket, not like a thin blanket. Like if you have like a thick blanket like this one, that's kind of how it feels. Like if you could like put it into context. I don't know. I'm trying to help. But the Sweet Snuggles Light version is super soft. This is what a baby blanket should have felt like, to be honest. But it's more so like a velvet feely. Like if you can picture that in your head for any non-crocheters out there. If you felt this before, then you know what I'm talking about. But it's more of like a velvety, like smooth feeling. Like this is something like silk maybe. Like you want to be feeling this nonstop, to put that into perspective. So this one 100% feels better than the Bernat one, but you are getting less grams, which does matter, unfortunately. So Bernat wins over that. So it's 1-to-1 in terms of like point scale, just based on looking at the appearance. I can't blame them for being junky clunky like this, because they've been tossed around in my room multiple times. So I'm not blaming them on that. But I will say, before I get into making the bees, if you like this video concept, I actually find more yarn like this than you'd think, that I just don't think anyone's like considered. This is the Lion Brand Yarns Baby Soft yarn and the color Twinkle Print. And it's the same, like, I'm trying to make sure it's in the camera. It's the same like color concept with the whites, the blue, and then the yellow and the pink. So it's like the same concept, except this is a DK3. So it is a different size yarn. So maybe in the future, if you want me to like find another size 3 yarn, test it out, because I do have another size 3 yarn already. If you want me to find a size 4 yarn, you know, medium weight acrylic, and test out 2 of those, I'd be more than happy to. I like yarn testing. This is going to be pretty fun. But I'm going to make birthday bees first. I'm going to make 2 birthday bees in the blanket and then 2 birthday bees in the Sweet Snuggles Light to See. So for the Bernat blanket, I'm going to be making 2 hot pink bees, because this is the pink color that I have in blanket yarn, because Sweet Snuggles Light is a slightly smaller size than Bernat blanket. It does work just fine with it, to a point you wouldn't notice that there is a size difference. It's just a small size difference. Like if you're using a looser hook, you're definitely going to see a little bit of holes. If you're using a really tight hook, it's not going to matter to you. But for the Sweet Snuggles, I'm going to be using this navy blue to create girl bees and boy bees, you know what I'm saying? That's what we're going to do. I've got a ball of white to make the wings, and then some yellow for the flames on the candles, because they're birthday bees, they're going to have little candles on them. And then on the Bernat's one, I'm going to have a hot pink candle, and on the Sweet Snuggles one, I'm going to have a navy candle. The candle colors don't matter in which it pertains to the actual, like, yarns itself. I'm just showing you so we're up to the same speed. But I do have something handy dandy, although it has fallen into the abyss. I'm going to reach down and grab that. I do actually have a scale, because I am an avid crocheter. And like I said, those grams matter. And if this seems light, it's because I already took the scale out before filming this, so I wasn't like chucking it around. But the gram difference between these 2 yarns do in fact matter. So I'm going to take my handy dandy little kitchen scale. I just bought this on Amazon for like $20. I think it is completely worth it to have a scale if you are a crocheter, because personally, I like to weigh all of my yarns before and after projects, so I know how much yarn it takes exactly. So when you're out at Michael's and you're browsing, you're like, oh, this only has 100 grams. I don't think I can make anything with it. Go back into your catalog and you can find A, B, C, and D that only take 56 grams. You know what I'm saying? So I personally like to weigh my yarn. But because these 2 do have a difference in grams, I'm going to weigh before I crochet anything with them, and then I'm going to weigh after I crochet something with them. And we're going to see how many I could predictably make because of that measurement. it doesn't mean that I have to completely make all 3. So for instance, let's say the burnout blanket, right? I were to make 1 bee out of it and I were to measure it, I could tell that I could make, let's say, 4 more bees out of 1 ball of yarn. So then it would be 5 bees that I could make out of this singular ball of yarn, rather than making all 4 and then getting to the 5th one and realizing I'm just barely short and I can't make it. And then it sits in the work in progress bin for months and then it never gets completed because we don't buy this yarn again because it's sold out. So it prevents losing a game of yarn chicken because you know exactly how much yarn you are going to need. So I'm going to be weighing mine before and after. I will come back with you when I have a couple bees. Since I can't reach, I'm gonna give it like 10 seconds. This camera angle is wrong, but like whatever, I'm not gonna sit here and finick with it because I'm on a time crunch this morning because I have to go and get my hair cut. As you can see, my hair sticking out, the bun's way low and back. I drastically need my haircut, so I gotta like speed this up because I kept forgetting to film the outro for this video. So good job me, right? Good job me. So I will say I do have the balls with the labels on them still. This one stayed up. This one's kind of broke and dying in the back here. So I'm just going to move them to the side. I just want to show that I did not open either of those. This is what the loops and thread looks like, and this is what the burnet looks like. Granted, this was a ball to begin with, so it's not a drastic use. And I did weigh them before I started the bee, after I did the bee, and then after I did the other bee, just to see what the yarn usage would be. Haha. Just to make sure, like, to see which one's given me the real, like, good amount for my money. I had a couple random projects, I'm just going to throw those back there. I will say, when I first measured this, it was like 98 grams. And then the first bee I made out of it, which I have to dig through my little bag that I put them in, would be this pink one, which used 33 grams of the burnet version. And I tried doing embroidered eyes. I did a few different eyes, like I made 4 different plushies. Each one has different eyes, so let me know which eyes you guys like the best. These ones are like the long embroidered look. See it up close? I don't know how I feel about it. It's got like a little lash to it. The candle's a little drooped from being at the bottom. It's got the pink candle to match on top. And it's got the 3 stripes here. And then I did a 2-striped version, which is slightly different compared to the 3-stripe version. The 2 stripes are just bigger than the 3 smaller stripes. This also used 33 grams, so there wasn't much of a difference in terms of like grammage. I used the same exact amount to make both bees. This one's got like a bit of a happy face compared to this one. I don't know why this one looks bigger than this one. They're the same size, but this one just looks bigger. Maybe it's the way I stuffed it, that it just looks so much bigger than the other one. I don't know. It just feels... Maybe it's just because of the stripes, so it looks bigger. I don't know. I'm not really a fan of the 2-stripe. I like the 3-striped version better. But we've got the dark purple candle on the top there. And it just works off like any burnet blanket would, so it's not like special by any means. It's just normal burnet blanket yarn. It's just the feels. Excuse me, guys. My bad. But then we've got the loops and threads. I made 2 bees out of this as well. And I do want to mention though, like when I was weighing them, obviously I didn't start with the full ball for the blanket, but I did weigh the other 2 balls out of curiosity because I was like, something ain't right here. When I weighed this ball, it's supposed to have 250 grams, and I always take the labels off just to make sure I'm not accidentally weighing the label itself. When I took the label off of this one to use it, I was supposed to have 250 grams, and I only had 186 grams. That is a big difference. It's not even like a 50-gram difference. It's like a 60-70 gram difference from what I was supposed to originally have, which would have been the equivalent of making like an extra 2 bees out of this, which sucks, but that's why I always measure my yarn first, just to make sure I always have the right amount of yarn. Because when I weighed the other ball of blanket, it came out to roughly 300, and when I measured the other ball of the loops and threads, it had a little bit over 250. So it's like one of them was a little bit over, one of them was severely under, I'd say, which kind of sucks because that's a huge like drop. But I made the first bee in like a navy blue. It's got safety eyes, although you can't really see them that well. I tried doing gold to make them pop more, but it's just because this is such a dark color that you can't really see them, I feel like. But this one has the 3 stripes, which took 21 grams, and then the 2 stripe, which also took 21 grams, but these ones have like short and small embroidered eyes. So I don't know which eyes look best. You'll have to let me know. The pink long embroidered, the purple like happy eyes. Just plain safety eyes are like the short embroidered ones. This candle's also drooping from being at the bottom of the bag, but that's okay. So here's these two. There is a size difference, I will say, between the loops and thread and the Bernat, as you can see. One is slightly smaller than the other, but this is a slightly bigger yarn than the other, so I was using a 9mm hook for this one and an 8mm hook for this one, which could be the leading cause of it being slightly different. So I will give it that. It could be a hook size difference that I was using between the two. This one is softer, so I would say that this one is softer for like a baby material, and this one is better equipped for a kid, I guess, because it feels more rough and more durable than the loops and threads one. But I'm going to move the little balls of yarn to this side, and we're just going to show you one next to the other. I guess I'm just going to pick these two back up, and then we'll pick the other two back up so you can see all of the eyes next to each other. But out of these 4, let me know which your favorite is, because I'd be curious to see which one you guys like the best. I personally like this purple one the best. I just think it looks nice. I kind of got the eyes a little bit wonky, but I'll fix that afterwards. Like I said, kind of in a rush. I need to get out of here in a minute. But I think they all turned out like rather cute considering. I'm kind of just going to fling them behind me for now instead of putting them back in the bag like a normal person, because who does that? And I'll scooch over a bit more into the frame, but I'm going to use my whiteboard. I'm just going to erase the grammage. But yeah, 33 grams compared to 21 grams. That is kind of a little bit of a difference. But if you wanted to count, like hypothetically, I can make a ton of bee stripes out of one ball. Either way. Like, it's not like a drastic difference between the two. Like 10 grams, it's like give or take, you know what it is. But you'll have to let me know which you guys think beats out the other. It's kind of just personal preference if you like it to be a little more rugged and durable feeling, or if you like it to be super soft. I can't really judge the two yarns based on working them up, only because each ball is different. It's just depending on which batch I got. Sometimes there's bad batches where the yarn is completely ruined. Sometimes there's batches where you're very underneath the grammage you're supposed to be. So I can't really judge it. If I had to like say which one I like working with better, I would say the Bernat blanket, only because it is a bit more rugged. I feel like it's a bit more durable, but if I were to look at it from a business perspective, because obviously I would be selling all of these bees, 33 grams to 21 grams is a bit of a difference. I do get more out of making these smaller bees out of the loops and threads version of the yarn, but I do have less yarn in there to begin with, so it's probably best just to spend a couple extra dollars and then make a extra, I don't know, 3 bees out of one ball, rather than spending a little bit less and having a little bit of a less profit, obviously. But that was me trying the 2 different like birthday funfetti yarns. As I said earlier, I have one in like a DK3 yarn, and I have one in a size 4 medium weight yarn. So if you want to see me testing out a couple more like themed yarns, I would love to do that. There's also a lot of Premier yarns now where it's like fruit themed, which I feel like might be coming in like a few different other brands soon, because like that's such a clever idea to do that. There's also just like a bunch of like glitter yarns I could pit against each other, a bunch of like velvet yarns if you want to see me try one brand versus the other. I want to do a Pipsqueak versus Little Bunny video soon, because I have a bunch of Little Bunny now. I ordered a bunch. I just need to get a couple more balls of Pipsqueak. I currently only have 3 balls of Pipsqueak. So next time I go to Joann's, I'm definitely going to get some more of that, and that'll be a video which I think it'll be a little bit fun. Just because they're like the same textured essentially, it's just like slightly different between the two. But I definitely want to try that out. I'm gonna stop rambling because she gotta go. But let me know which bee out of the 4 was your favorite, if you liked the 3 stripes better, the 2 stripes better, and which eye you liked the best. Because at the end of the day, I'm going by everybody's opinions other than mine, because I made them, so if I'm looking at it like it looks wonky, somebody's looking at it as if it's the best one. And if somebody thinks it's wonky, I'm thinking it's the best one, so I'd love feedback on which one you think was the best. And that's all I've got for now. I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully my room makeover video will be finished because that was supposed to be out 2 weeks ago now at this point. So hopefully I can get that done. As you can see by the sloth and the water bottles over here, it's still just a tad bit messy. I kind of had a problem with cleaning up the rest of it. It's almost done. It's almost done. There's just like a little pile over there, but it's almost done. It's almost good, and that will hopefully be up soon, but I will be done blabbering and rambling. I'll see you guys next Friday.